السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. Well, just a quick video about this issue about the debate of Daniel حقيقته and that Christian guy about child marriage, little girls marriage to mature and adult males. Well, in the debate, Daniel حقيقته was only defending the former madahibs and early scholars' views about marriage in Islam or marriage consummation in Islam. And we all know that there are two stages. There is this contract, marriage contracts, and there is this marriage consummation. The marriage contract can occur at any age by the father's approval. So the father is the one who chooses the husband for his daughter. He can even be 20, 30, 40, it doesn't matter. The most important thing that this husband is a pious man who is going to take care of the daughter. And the girl here, its age can be even a 1 day old girl, and there is no problem for the father to give a word to that man that she is his wife, and to wait until she can physically endure intercourse, as Al-Madhab al-Hanafi says, in order for the father, which is determined by the father, in order for him to give her to her husband in order to enjoy or to get his pleasure from her. And marriage consummation can happen at any age. Because the only factor that is taken into consideration here is the girl's physical ability to endure intercourse. She can only show some signs of physical maturity or signs of puberty even before getting her menses, and she can consummate the marriage with the man by the decision of her father. And I said that I disagree with this issue here because the physical factor is not sufficient reason to determine the girl's ability to be a wife and take marriage responsibilities. And in the debate, it was measured at the age of 4 years old and even 11 months old for the girl. If she shows signs of puberty, then her father can decide to give her off to her husband in order to consummate the marriage, which is a weird thing to do because, as I said, the physical ability or maturity can happen at an early age, or a girl can reach puberty at an early age, like 4 or 5, due to some health disorder. So it is not for the father or the judge to justify that or to say that, hey, the girl is mature enough to be a wife and carry the marriage responsibilities. So I am right now recording this video while my daughter is jumping on the bed. She is 6 years old and she hasn't yet shown any sign of puberty, but wallahi, I look at her and tears fill my eyes. Imagine that we follow this teachings here, that her father is going to observe her and wait for her until she shows some breasts and some fluff in order for him to find a pious, mature, fully adult man to marry her. Why are we in such a hurry? And why are we going to put the kid in such a situation that we are going to take her to court and let the judge to look at her, to examine her body in order for him to decide whether she fits to endure intercourse or not, in order for her to be a wife, which is a hard thing to do for a grown-up woman, let alone a 4 years old or a 10 years old child. Can you imagine that you are taking your daughter to the court and she's not aware of anything, and you're asking the judge, okay, please, Mr. Judge, do you think that I should give my daughter to her husband to consummate the marriage now, or should I still wait a bit? And the girl is there and she doesn't understand anything. She doesn't even know what marriage is. Are you serious? And I know that there is this verse in the Quran which says وَاللَّائِ لَمْ يَحِضْ, which refers to the girls who haven't gotten their menses yet, and they are also given a waiting period of 3 months, which means they already consummated the marriage and they got divorced before reaching the stage of bleeding. The early scholars took this verse and linked it to the hadith of Aisha, in which she said that she got married at 9, that she consummated the marriage at 9. And they made it into a law that it refers to al-bikr al-saghira, as Ibn Kathir and Tafsir Ibn Kathir and al-Baghawi and Tabari all say and agree upon that it refers to the little virgin female. Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen said that the marriage of the Prophet to Aisha radiallahu anha concerns the Prophet and Aisha. So we shouldn't make it into law. This is something special about them. And but still there are people who consider it as a law that we are going to apply it on our own daughters, and if you say no, they will tell you that, hey, you are brainwashed by the Western media and the Western norms or whatever. No, I am here to defend little girls. I don't want them to suffer because I am a woman and I can feel that. I also was married. Alhamdulillah, I was an adult when I got married, and it was hard for me. The first experience for us as women in marriage is hard for us to get along with it. So how about little girls, 4 years old, 12 years old girls, and you're telling me that, hey, they can go and just get married once they show signs of puberty in their bodies, and it is the father who's going to determine that? This is, oh my God, this is insane. I'm sorry. Little girls are human beings. They are children who deserve to play, to run, to laugh, to play with their dolls and everything. This is what they deserve to do, to be taken to the park, to play with swings, have to be taken to the beach and swim there, and the swimming pool and swim there. This is their right. So when you come and say, hey, let me examine her and put my eyes on her body every time, I need to check if she has grown any pubes or breasts so I can give her off to her husband to marry her. And when is this girl going to enjoy life and reflect on Allah's creation by looking at it and being touched by the sun and by the seawater? Because these same scholars state that the woman does not leave the house only for two reasons, applying the verse وَقَرْنَ فِي بُيُوتِكُنَّ, stay in your houses, which is referring to the wives of the Prophet. But so the scholars decided to make it general about all the Muslim women, and that she has two reasons only to leave the house, which is to go to the hospital or to the cemetery in order to be buried once she dies. Early scholars' interpretations were based on the norms, the cultural norms, and the traditions and the customs they belong to, and which is highly affected by the knowledge they reached so far in the era they belong to. So that's why today we have science which came and told us, hey, the physical maturity or ability, which sometimes can happen due to some health disorders, is not an enough factor to determine that the girl is ready to consummate the marriage. That we need to add other factors, which are the mental and psychological and emotional maturity of the girl, and we also need that the girl consents to that marriage. She also has a say in it, if she wants that man or not. The consent is very important, and we have a hadith that speaks about this. But early scholars tend to differentiate between the little virgin girl and the big virgin girl. So according to early scholars, the big female virgin who is above the age of 9, she can have a say to say yes or no to the marriage because she is mature enough. She has this, according to them, we don't know, she is not mature for me, but according to them, she is mature. She's mentally mature that she can make such decisions. And of course, her father has to consent as well, okay, in order for the marriage to be valid. We have the little female girl who is below the age of 9 and who hasn't gotten her menses yet, but she has shown some signs of physical ability to endure intercourse. Then here she cannot have a say in marriage. She cannot say that yes or no. She cannot accept or reject the marriage because she is not mentally mature enough to have a say in the marriage, to accept or to reject the marriage. That's why her father is given the responsibility to speak on her behalf, to tell whether it is good for her to consummate the marriage, even as young as 4, as soon as she shows some signs of puberty or not. Don't you see the contradiction here? The girl cannot have a say, cannot decide whether to accept or reject the marriage, but at the same time, she gets married and takes marriage responsibilities. How come that she cannot have a say? She is not mature enough to decide whether to say yes or say no to the marriage, but at the same time her father decides for her, instead of her, to marry her off and give her to her husband in order to start a journey filled of hardship and huge responsibilities. Wow. In addition to that, the father has full rights to force his daughter, who is below the age of 9, to get married to the man of his choice, because she is not mentally mature enough to decide whether it is good for her or bad for her. So her father knows better, so he has full right to force her, even if she says no, even if she cries, but still, because it is for her benefit according to her father. I repeat, the physical factor is not a sufficient reason to tell that, or to decide that the girl is ready to consummate the marriage and become a mother and serve the husband and obey him in bed. Even these people who are encouraging such kind of practices, they follow these same scholars who say that the woman has to have intercourse with her husband even if she doesn't have desire for that. And how come that a girl can be patient while having intercourse while she doesn't have desire? That is her, that is a kind of rape. That is rape, not a kind of, that is rape. How can she do that? Because she is married to a man who is just blindly following those scholars, whatever they say. I say amen, as if they don't make mistakes, as if they are God. No. There is a hadith which says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends us a renewist in every 100 years. So there are modern Islamic interpretations nowadays that add to the physical factor, they add the mental and psychological aspects, which also can be used in order to determine whether the girl is ready to consummate the marriage to be a wife or not. But these people don't listen to them. We don't care about that. They are funded by the West, by the way. It's as if God, they are demeaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's as if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stopped communicating with us for 1400 years. So he stopped. He doesn't show us any signs, anything. Why don't we just take these scientific researches that we've reached so far, and studies that we've reached so far, and the knowledge that we have today as a sign from God, that he's communicating through it to us? Why don't we just consider it as such? But of course, if Ibn Taymiyyah says this, Imam Ahmad says this, we don't care. No. This is a horrible mistake, because those people made these interpretations based on their laws of that time, their mindsets, their worldviews, the knowledge that they had at that time. So we cannot judge through that, because knowledge improves and we need to go in line with it. Okay, to be in line with it. We make mistakes, and we are human beings, all of us, even scholars make mistakes. So yeah, and we need to correct these mistakes in order not to harm ourselves and harm others, because there is the harm principle, and do not forget it as well. And in case you don't believe in this scientific researchers and studies and the knowledge that we've reached so far, because they are made by the West, and according to you they are funded by the West, it is a kind of conspiracy for you that they are banning child marriage, then just look at throughout history and look at reality. How many girls died in their wedding night? How many girls started bleeding in their wedding night? How many girls died while conceiving because some pubes and some breasts growing are not sufficient factors to determine the girl's ability to be, that she's a woman, fully a woman, that she can be a wife and bear the marriage responsibilities. So to conclude, I disagree with this early Islamic interpretation about little girls getting married as soon as they show some signs of puberty, even if they don't get their menses yet. I disagree with it. I'm sorry. I cannot force such beliefs on me. I can't. This is not even my choice. This is something innate in me that tells me, hey, please don't accept such teachings, because if you do, you are putting a lot of girls' health, life in danger. And as a peaceful woman who doesn't want anyone to see them being harmed, then of course I will reject it. I'm sorry. If you believe in it, then go and apply it. Go ahead and apply it. But me, I'm not going to apply it. And at the same time, because I'm not a hypocrite, I'm not going to preach it. I'm not going to encourage it. I'm not going to support it. This is me. This is how I am. And even my husband as well, he has the same views as me. Maybe you would say that I am deficient, I'm a fool, I'm stupid, like your early scholars call the woman or refer to the woman as. But my husband is a man and he agrees with me 100%. So is he stupid as well or deficient in brain? Oh, maybe he's a simp, right? This is how the brain that Allah gave me thinks. This is how the brain that Allah gave me sees the little girl's marriage. And it is not my choice, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told me to use reasoning in order to reflect on his signs and verses in order to get the truth. So of course I'm using my brain, and he didn't specify the gender, so I'm using my brain, and my brain tells me this is a horrible mistake against innocent little girls. I'm sorry, but this is not just a mistake, but this is a crime that is committed against these little angels. Wallahi, I went to school when I learned about this issue here. I went to my daughter's school to bring her back home, and I was looking at little girls filled with energy and life, laughing and running and talking out loud and enjoying life. And I was like, oh my God, if we follow this teaching, then she won't be there. She will be at home learning how to cook and how to clean in order to serve her husband, because at any time she will grow some breasts or some fluff and she would be given to her husband to consummate the marriage in order to use her to get his pleasure from her. And this is terrible. I'm sorry. I don't accept it. I can't.